We're going to get started here. I want to welcome everyone to the call. We're going to speak about parent rapport. For those of you who know me, this is a subject I really do like. I think it's much needed. I would love to see everyone in our network on this call, but I think it's something that's very much overlooked. So, for those of you who have been on my Mastery Series calls, we have you actually write and develop a well-structured parent rapport program. So obviously we think it's very important, or we wouldn't have it in the Mastery Series. Liz out in Wantagh on Long Island, she's been very successful in this. And while some of you may see that her parent rapport program may not be exactly how mine would be, or not even maybe how you're doing it right now, I think the bottom line is there's no real right or wrong when it comes to building a parent rapport program. The real object here is that it's something that's structured and it's something that's done on a consistent basis. And your results are that you have really high athlete retention. So those are the things we need to look at. And Liz actually won the award out at our last summit for parent rapport. She does this really well. And so I'm going to turn it over to Liz now, and go ahead, take it away.
All right, thanks, Ginger. Like Ginger was saying, I'm from Long Island. Thank you guys for getting on the call. Parent rapport is something, yeah, I think that's probably, I have to say, like, we do the best. And it's, for us here, it's really, really simple. So just a couple background about us. We're on the South Shore of Long Island in Nassau County. There's 4 Parisis on Long Island. So we're in between Port Washington and Islip. Port Washington's north and west, and then Islip's east of us. We just became, about a year ago, 6,390 square foot facility. We have a 35-yard turf and then a 15-yard turf side by side. Right now, we got 150 current members. We currently, as of yesterday, cannot take any more Jumpstart Level 2 kids. We're totally maxed out at that age group. We have 32 classes a week right now, and in 2014 and 2016, we were named the Outstanding Franchise for Parent Rapport. The funny thing about 2016 was, like, I had no idea, we were going to even be named that, and George was, like, asking me questions for the video, and I'm like, I was completely shocked, and he kind of was shocked that I said that. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you guys always come to, corporate's name when it comes to parent rapport. So that's pretty cool for that. You guys always think of that. For us, parent rapport is the simplest thing that you guys can do at your facility, but also the most important. And I think that's how you really build the brand. So where and when does it begin? For us, it kind of begins in that initial inquiry, that, initial contact, that initial phone call. And, I remember going back to our training week 5 years ago, 6 years ago with John Cirillo, and he drilled us on that call script. And I think our biggest thing, and I kind of do it with our coaches, is that with that call script, it's great and we use it, but you also have to put your personal touch on it and really work on building the relationship with your parents from the initial call. And it's really almost like, I tell everybody, like, ask them, what sports does your child play? What else are they interested besides sports? What else do they do? Grade they're in, school they go to, and just kind of almost put them at ease. Because the bottom line is parents want to know that your best interest is there for their child. And if they feel like that, they're going to be probably 10 times more likely to sign up with you versus a competitor. For us here, parent rapport is truly what drives our membership. It builds our relationship, and it gives us our referrals. We don't do a lot of marketing here. We don't do a lot of advertising. The gym budgets, I don't budget. The gym does it. Advertising for Parisi and all the programs in the gym. So that's where we're a little bit different than other Parisis, where I'm not responsible for my marketing. The general manager of the club is responsible for that. So the overall gym budget is about 10% for every program. That includes pre-season. So we don't do, we really don't do any mailings. We don't do, we do social media posting. That's our big thing. We do email blasts. We do programs to former members to get them in, but we're not doing, old school marketing. That's just not how it works for us. It's really relationships and referrals. 90% of our business is referrals. So why is it important? Creates a sense of community. I'm going to touch upon that later. It's a personal connection. One of the biggest reasons why we're so successful with it is because of our sense of community that the health club embraces. So that spills right over into Parisi. So if you guys are within a health club, that's definitely something that you want to connect. It builds trust. Parents want to know that they can trust you with their child. They're going to leave their child with you for several hours a week. They want to know that you have their best interest of their child. You're going to treat them as an individual. Yes, you're going to be teaching an acceleration class or change of direction, but ultimately you're there to train their child and really make sure that their child gets their best workout. They're more likely to purchase a program for you where they feel the coaches and the program director are honest and, again, caring for their child. You're not going to sell them something that doesn't work for their child. And like I said, 90% of our business is referrals. We have a referral program in place as far as team training now. And Steve Leo gave me this idea at the last summit, and it's worked amazing for us. We've had a very hard time getting teams in here. So what we did is if we had an athlete from a team, let's say it's, our next town over is Seaford. Their program is the Seaford Broncos Football Club. We've never been able to get a football team in here. We do free demos for them every week, every summer, I should say, not every week, every summer to kick off their football program. The last week in July, we do 2 nights of free speed clinics. We still have never been able to get a team. So what Steve said is whether you get the team for team training or get several of them in, some are members of the team, it's still revenue. So what we did was we gave out cards this year, and we gave out cards to every single kid in the program. 25% off evals. We charge $75 for evals. We charge that since we opened the doors in 2012, and that's revenue. I know other clubs don't charge. It works for us. It works for us because of our referrals, because of our reputation, and what people are saying about us. We gave those out to our athletes. Those expired in December 2016. So they had a booking eval, came down to $56. I got 15 kids off of that alone from November to December, when football ended till the year ended. And then what we did is if they were a member of the Seaford Broncos, we took 10% off their membership. And that's been huge. That's the reason why my Jumpstart Level 2 classes are maxed out, because that really strong 9.5 to 11-year-old athlete, that's who's in the program right now. That's my biggest base. And when you did the math, for us selling a $99 a month, our 9-month is $99 a month for 9 months. To do that, to take off $10 a month, in the big picture, we weren't losing money. We were gaining so many more athletes. And it's worked huge. I mean, I highly recommend that if you guys struggle with team training, that's been a game changer for us here. Creating community. Our actual gym is a local family gym. Very strong sense of community. Management knows everybody's names that are walking in. It's a very warm, hey, how you doing culture. And that's been absorbed by Parisi, and I think that's really what drives our parent rapport, where this community energy and culture has been felt and embraced by the Parisi staff. Our coaches, they're a part of the entire gym community. So our coaches also coach our small group training program. So when you have a Parisi coach training the adults in small group and personal training, those adults have kids that are in that age, 7 to 18, and they're more likely to sign up. Once they get to know the coaches and they trust them with their training and their knowledge, they're more likely to sign their child up. And again, the community from the gym creates a community in Parisi. We have a very strong sense of community in Parisi. Our athletes, they're really all friends. Like we were just talking about the other night, they're really all friends with each other. They stay in contact with each other on social media. They comment on our posts. So we'll put up a post of a high school athlete doing a really cool drill, and they'll comment on each other. They'll send snaps to each other of them doing stuff in class. And it just makes them feel a part of something. So, yeah, they're a part of teams outside of Parisi, but they're also a part of the club. And it's like, oh, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Where have you been? How are your sports going? It's really, really cool to have that. And I think that's just the overall building rapport between coaches and between myself and my coaches, myself and my parents, myself and my athletes, coaches and the parents, and the coaches and the athletes. Building trust, being honest in sales and relationships. I think the biggest thing is, especially at the TP level, and, we start strength at 12. We use strength here as an upsell. So if we, going off our 3 and our 9 months, you make more money off a strength membership. But if you get a child at your initial evaluation that can't squat their own body weight, you really shouldn't be selling them a strength membership right off the bat. And, if they can't perform a body weight squat, simple, an overhead squat with a PVC pipe when you're doing that initial evaluation, don't sell them a strength membership because they're going to have a hard time in there. So talk to the parent. Let's get them in speed first. When you reevaluate them, that might be something to look at down the line. The reevals, they're huge. And, Ginger had said this to me a couple of years ago that, we should be doing the reevals. And we kind of weren't because people were signing up automatically. So 3 months, 6 months, and 9 months, we sit down and we formally reevaluate everybody, whether they do a cat club or not. And that's been huge because we sit down at those month markers with parents, and yeah, the cat club is great because they're hanging out with their friends from class, they're pushing, they're saying who did better on the 10, the 20, they're vertical. But when you sit down one-on-one and you make time out of your day, that sets you apart from your competitors. There's no other competitor out there that's actually doing that. CrossFit's not doing that. We have another program, Train for the Game, that's doing that. And AMP. They do an initial evaluation and a post-evaluation, and that's not it. That's it. So when you put those evaluations in at the 3 month and the 6 month mark, it sets you apart. And it just gives you a stronger stance in the community for the value of your program. And it shows you to number 2. It shows that you're passionate about helping each athlete. You're sitting down, you're taking time out of your day, you want to retest, you want to see where they are. Box Command is great for this. I'm a big charts and graphs visual person. Box Command can show you the linear growth. So if the child's been coming in 3 times a week for 3 months, of course they're going to improve. As long as your coaches are correcting them, you're following Parisi class structure. So of course they're going to improve. Why not use that to just show the parent and for more sales leverage? It only helps you guys grow. You make it about the child and the money is going to follow. If you make it about the child and their progress and their success, show up at some games, shoot them a fan mail after the game. Hey, you had a great game Saturday. Doesn't matter the sport. Highlight something they did in the game, send it to the kid. That child is going to feel like $1 million, especially the 7 to 11 range, which is that jumpstart, which should be your biggest base because they're gonna stay with that program when they hit the TP, high school, and college. I know my owner's on me for not having a strong college program. I will, and I keep saying to them, I'm gonna have a strong college program when my high school kids graduate. I'm just starting to have our first jumpstart kids graduate high school. They're gonna stay with us. They already talked about coming back from college. It takes time. But why are they going to stay with us? Because we made it about their child for the last 5 years that we've been open, and their child's going off to West Point to play lacrosse or University of Vermont to play soccer. So they're going to some big schools now, and that comes back, over the winter break. But I think that only starts when you really focus on that jumpstart group, because we focus on that right at the bat, and the results have been tenfold for us. Referrals. I think this only happens if you build a community. For us, it's been the most effective way to build business. 90% of our sales, like I said, have been referrals. And it's because our athletes' results speak for themselves. The most common question parents get, and they say, is what is your child doing? And, they go, lacrosse, take lacrosse, for example. They'll play in the fall. It's probably a little bit slower now. They're playing a little bit indoors, not major. But come spring, they're going to be like, holy mackerel, what are they doing? And it's funny. I would say half our parents will be like, oh, they're at Parisi. This is what they're doing. Check it out. The other half are like, oh, they're doing training, because they don't want, it's almost like the best kept secret. But like I said, 90% of our sales are referrals. When you have that relationship with parents and they see that you're behind the program 100%, your coaches are behind the program 100%, you care about their child getting better and truly improving and feeling better and self-confidence. I mean, I get 10 emails a day how I had a hesitant athlete come in, they're already feeling better, thank you so much, it's been 2 weeks. I mean, that's the best kind of email to get. Or I'll get a text of an athlete practicing a box jump on their bed before they go to sleep. I mean, those are the best kind of texts to get. And again, I think it's just, the athletes see you excited, the coach is excited, and then the parents get excited because they're like, all right, I'm paying for something that my child truly wants to go to. So they see value in it. When they see value in it, they're more likely to talk positive about it. So how just some tips how to improve it. Be all in, Don't be afraid. And this was like my biggest thing was, don't be afraid to reach out to a parent. Don't be afraid to have your coaches, to tell your coaches, hey, you got to start contacting parents. We run our staffing, I think, a little differently than other facilities do, where our coaches come in to teach their classes. So they're not really on a shift per se, but I do make them reach parents. So every single coach, Box Command makes it super easy now because I let them shoot the parents an email from Box Command. They can plug their email address in. Hey, so-and-so did great in class today. He improved his time by this much. And, you're contacting them for small achievements. They may seem small, but that's what a parent wants to hear. My coaches have to go to 2 games per month. They're responsible for getting their athletes' schedules, going to 2 games, and then following up with fan mail. We still do the old school fan mail, and then we'll do email here and there. Supporting the athletes outside the facility, probably one of the biggest things you guys can do to build that community, build that relationship. We have a lot of 5Ks in our area. We run them with the kids. And it's like, literally, it's like, who could beat the coaches? And the kids love it. And they'll talk smack to you. And it's just great. We just did one a few weeks ago where they're like, oh, thanks. They're like, we were waiting for you at the finish line. I'm like, very funny. But again, it's that community. It's that they want to be here. They feel a part of something bigger. And, holding your coaches accountable. They know that when they go to a game and I have the schedule, that a letter is due to me, a card is due 24 hours. Whether they're in the club or not, that better be here in 24 hours, and I'm texting them. Where's your fan mail from the game? You can't be afraid to hold them accountable. They may give you resistance at first, but eventually if they want their job and they want to, fill their classes, they'll do it. And it's that simple. And I hear it. I had a call with Carol yesterday, and I was like, about staffing, and I was like, yeah, my biggest thing is I have coaches that want to make money, and I'm like, you want to sell, you want to make money, you got to get out there and you got to promote the brand and you got to do X, Y, and Z. And if they truly want to make money and they truly want to be in the business, they'll do it. Their excuses used to be, I'm afraid to call a parent. Okay, so then get on the turf 10 minutes before class starts and greet the parent and the child, and know every single kid in your class and use that child's name 3 to 5 times in the class. Whether you're correcting, complimenting, or motivating, know that child's name. And if that parent's sitting and watching, they'll say, wow, Coach Allie really knows my son. She's talking to him. She's engaging with him. Okay. Our biggest thing, and that comes from a health club, is that our members aren't just numbers. So we greet everybody face-to-face, email, constant coach giving feedback, and a phone call. Always finding a way to compliment the child and then giving constructive feedback. Do we have the child that's disruptive in class? Of course we do. Everybody has that. But again, how do we handle that? Well, if you already have a good relationship with the parent, it's 100 times easier to handle that. So when you start off with a positive reinforcement or positive compliment, then you can say, hey, Johnny's been doing really, really well. He's been focusing in class. His 10-yard time improved by this much from December to January, but today he was joking around with a few kids, and I had to, tell him, listen, if you're not going to follow directions, you're going to sit out. Parents want their child to participate. They want their child to work. So they don't want to hear that, but they know that if you're giving them that positive feedback and that you're kind of taking that road to correct the behavior, they feel better about that. So they're more likely to be more receptive to a phone call like that. You guys have any questions so far?
Before we go to we'll give them a chance to unmute themselves, but I have a couple things I want to say. Liz, when you refer to box command, are you referring to the training management system or the software box
TMS.
command? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because we refer to it as training management system. I just want everybody to be clear on that, because the box command is typically the software that is your whole, CRM. So just so everybody understands this, Constant Coach and the training management system is what she's referring to. Okay, great. And while they're unmuting, if they have any questions, I have a couple things. With regard to parent rapport, keep in mind, guys, it is much easier to renew somebody that's been in your program for a while than to go out and get a brand new one. So again, for those of you who've gone through the Mastery Series, you see how attrition really plays a part in meeting your goals. It can destroy you if you don't work on retaining your current clients. So keep that in mind. Liz had mentioned a call script. I'm personally not a huge fan of a call script, simply because it sounds like it's scripted. So what she said too is put your personal touch in there. Very, very important. These calls should not be really cold calls. You're calling people that you know. So, if one of your staff members is reluctant to make phone calls, I always find that really bizarre, because while they might be fine face-to-face talking to parents, why wouldn't they be fine making a phone call? So that's something you really need to investigate. Also what Liz said about the post-evaluation, I can't agree more with her. I think it's tremendous. I do talk a lot about that because we are a progressive program. If parents don't see results, and the numbers speak volumes. So if parents can't see those numbers increase, they're not going to really be convinced that the program is working. So, absolutely, it's a must. It is something that is very difficult to get our coaches on our network to do, our program directors, because it's taking an hour out of your day to have to, take this kid through a post-evaluation. That's the whole thing. You've got them into your program, but that doesn't mean you have to let them go then. You have to maintain them. So keep that in mind. Much easier to retain a client than to go out and get a brand new one. Okay, always remember that. And the last thing I want to say, is Liz mentioned about staff accountability. Guys, this is huge. This is tremendous. If you're a program director who cannot hold their staff accountable, you need to really start looking into that. Okay, because one question I get, and I always laugh when I get this question, but I get it an awful lot. What are the consequences if my staff does not do what they're supposed to do? It's kind of a funny thing to me because, consequences, you really shouldn't need any consequences. If your staff is self-accountable, in other words, if they're clear on what their job should be, and you have sat down with your staff and gone over what the job entails, and making phone calls is part of it, okay? If they are clear as to what they're supposed to do, then they don't do their job, and they're not self-accountable, like they don't really care if they've done their job or not, I think you should start asking yourself, why is this person still an employee with me? Okay, so the first step is to hire people that are self-accountable. So if you have the right staff in place, accountability should not be that hard. So start thinking about that. Now, Liz, I will say, in addition to being really on it with this, the one thing I'll say is Liz has been the program director since that Parisi has started. Okay, so that was 5 years ago, a little more than 5 years. We don't see staff retention very often like we see with their facility. So that really says a lot, not only about Liz as a director, but about the people that she has hired to work with her. So I just wanted to mention that, Liz, because that is a real, that's huge. That's tremendous. So now I've gone on and on about a few things, but I don't see anybody else that's unmuted right now. But, let's open it up for questions or comments right now. I think you still have a few more slides, right, Liz?
I do. And just touching off, one thing you said about staff accountability, when I hire somebody, and you guys, like, the Parisi Network gives so many resources. It's amazing. I literally show them the job description. Like,
right.
Put it down, show it to them, clear up front, so that they know, yeah, you're working nights, you're working weekends, you're going to have to go out. I mean, we pay them to go to their games. You're going to have to make phone calls to parents, to coaches, and you're going to have to build relationships. Mm-hmm. And I think being that clear right off the bat, then it's like, okay, it's easier to get rid of somebody that's not meeting your expectations, because I'm like, well, I told you this from day one. So, when you don't meet what I'm asking you, and right, like Ginger said, why are they part of the program? But I think putting it up front and using that job description, that helps us tremendously just even find coaches and people that want to be in the program, because we post that. So it's almost like, all right, this is what we're looking for. So you can kind of weed out. There's no kind of gray area almost, if that makes sense.
One of the questions I get a lot as well is from the staff. Well, are we going to get paid to make these phone calls? So guys, think about this. And Liz, you're going to, I think, probably get into how you have yours structured, but this is, and I said it could be a little bit different than what I would do. But if you have, so Liz has 150 people in her program. Now, how many coaches do you have, Liz?
I have to count, including me?
No, not including you.
Okay. Alana, Chris, Allie, Alyssa, Jack. 6.
Okay. So if you take their population of 150 kids and divide it by 6, that's 25. So if each staff is assigned 25 kids, maybe you break the alphabet up into six pieces, and coach A, B, C, D, E, and F, they all get a piece of the alphabet, a 6th. And so every new person that comes into the program, depending on what piece of the alphabet they fall under, gets assigned to one of the coaches. So roughly they have 25 people on their list. That means maybe they're making one phone call or one fan mail a day. That's it. So how long does that take? How long does one phone call make? I mean, what, a minute, 2 minutes at the most? So my answer, no, it's part of your job. You're going to come in, prior to class and you're going to make that phone call. So Liz, do you get that at all? Or, like how do you structure?
No, I mean, I really don't like, and it's funny about getting paid. Like we do, like we'll give them, like if they go to a game, we give them a class.
Right.
But like I have coaches that just go to games and don't even tell me.
Yeah.
Like they're not like I went to so and so's game.
Yeah.
Like I'll just see it. Like they'll post it on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, and they're like, yeah, I just wanted to go.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I don't have that problem. Like, am I getting paid? Am I getting paid extra for it? Am I getting, Yeah,
it's great. Really great. Anyway,
I don't know. I'm lucky. I have to say I'm very lucky.
You are.
Yeah, I'm very lucky with my facility. I'm very lucky with my staff.
But you don't get that. You don't get success just from luck. I mean, you have laid the groundwork. So a lot of that goes back to how you started with your coaches. A lot of your coaches, out of those 6, you've got some that came on with you, right?
Just Alana, Sean.
Okay.
Just Alana, Sean. Because originally it was just the 3 of us, just me, Alana, and Sean.
Right.
Sean moved down to South Carolina about a year ago.
Okay, so you've had your original staff for a long, long time. There's a lot to be said for that. So.
And actually, one of our coaches was one of our first athletes.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. And, he's young. I always forget, he's 19 or 20. I think he's 20 now, finally. But he has all our he has a lot of the JS1, the JS2, and they just, gravitate to him. And it's like, they think he's, Superman. And it's so funny to watch that because, that was him with, he looked at Sean like Sean was Superman.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. And then when he tells everybody, I came here, and he's like, but I was a lot older because it wasn't around when I was your age. They're like, no way. And then, I'll pull out, we actually have his original folder from when he was a client with, all his strength charts and everything in it. The kids crack up. They think it's, the coolest thing.
Well, that's great. And, so you should be proud of that. But I just wanted to take a little time for questions. If there aren't any, if there's no questions, we'll save some time at the end then.
Okay. Let's see. And then this is just going back on staff involvement, which we've definitely been, talking about the owner. Just about my owner, just so you guys know, he's very hands off. He's, loves 3C, thinks it's a great program. But he doesn't micromanage. I'm lucky in that sense where I kind of can run the program how I want to run it. We agree on price points together. We sit down, not as much as I would like to look at numbers. But again, it's be all in. And that starts with, so even if the owner's not really directly involved, it's your program directors, your assistant program directors. Be available. I think, to me, I'm available almost to a fault too much where, I'll be answering emails or texts. Sometimes it'll be 11:30 at night. But, I think, I personally need to cut back a little bit, I think. But I think that that's how we've gotten that rapport with parents where they know that they can reach out. If there's a concern, that they can reach out and they can address it. They can shoot me an email. They can text me. And just, the rapport between athletes and coaches to program directors, and then, athletes to athletes. It's just huge. It's just, again, it's that embracing that community. And again, it's the simplest things. Emails, phone calls. We call it FaceTime on the turf. I make them get on the turf 10 minutes before class. You should have all your equipment up. It is a pet peeve of mine because we have 2 turfs that are side by side, that if I'm teaching a class, like last night I was training a team and the coach on the other turf is constantly walking back and forth where I'm training to get stuff out of a closet, nothing annoys me more. So have your sessions planned, have your equipment out, be ready to go 10 minutes and start greeting the kids, start being happy to see them, you know, excited to see them. That just goes a long way. You know, Facebook shout outs, social media shout outs. They have to comment, and they did resist this for a while. And we didn't fight about it, but I kind of held my ground. I was like, guys, Richie, who's our owner, he wants you to he wants you to comment on a Facebook post that we put up or an Instagram post. And they're like, I don't really care. I don't want to comment. And I was like, guys, you're all younger than me. You all on your phones 24/7. It takes 10 seconds to comment on a post. I'm like, you got to comment on 5 posts a week. I'm like, literally, it's that simple. So then they're like, wouldn't. And I'd be like, guys, so-and-so. I'm like, Chris, you got to comment on social media. Let's go. And I remember Allie being like, I don't really care that he wants me to do that. And I was like, okay, well, guess what? I'm going to send you upstairs to his office, and you can go tell him you don't really care. And it changed in a second. So I don't know why they were like weird about that. I have no idea. I'm like, it's really not that hard to say, wow, way to go, Dylan. Great job. Like, keep it up. It's really not that hard. When you put it at that, like, and that's me. I had to hold a hard, like, that came from my owner. I had to hold a hard line on that and not let them be like, I'm not commenting. Because in the big picture, it takes 5 seconds to comment on Instagram and Facebook. And parents see that. When a parent is tagged, like we tag our parents in our posts. When a parent sees other coaches reaching out, maybe they don't coach their child. Maybe they, you know, their child's in TP and this coach only has Jumpstart. But again, it sees that the coaches know each child, and it really goes a long way. And one of the other biggest things I'm a stickler for is correcting each athlete. I will sit in coaches' sessions, and I don't have a problem being like, you didn't correct so-and-so enough. And they'll be like, what? And they're like, it's his second class. I'm like, I don't care. I tell them you need to address a child 3 to 5 times a session, correct the child 3 to 5. I'm not saying sit there and every single time a child does not use proper arm action to correct them, 15 times a class. No, don't be on their back, but 3 to 5 times is reasonable. 3 to 5 times, you have 8 to 10 kids in a class. I tell them if you're not correcting, you're not coaching, because correcting is what sets us apart from the CrossFit, the other facilities. I mean, I'm in an area where there's CrossFits every 2 miles. And I literally have parents be like, yeah, I'm putting my child in CrossFit. And I'm like, well, it's a completely different program. That's more conditioning. This is actually teaching your child how to run properly, how to accelerate, how to hit their top speed, how to manage their change of direction, how to decelerate, how to prevent injuries. I'm like, it's 2 completely different programs, but that personal connection is what sets us apart. So if that's what I'm going to sell in my evaluation, then my coaches better sell that on the turf. Staff involvement, I talked about this a little bit. They got to attend 2 of their athletes a game. So how we break it up is we break it up by Jumpstart, TP, and High School Elite, which is our peak program. And then our coaches who coach, I'm the only coach that really coaches me, and actually one other coach all the different levels. So we break it up that way. But you got to attend, so if we each have 20 kids, you got to attend 2 of their games a month, and then follow up with a fan mail. Social media, I said, post videos, check in at their games, tag their parents. It's so simple. Everybody pretty much has a smartphone. I'm like, you go to a game, you go to an event, check in at it, because people are going to see that you're there. Who's at John Thiessen's Freaky 5K? Check in there. Post a video, post a snap. It's so simple. Social media makes building that rapport 10 times easier. So just so you guys are aware, we have a ton of competition actually right within a 10-mile radius. We have Revolution, we have Blue Strike, we have Cats, we have, I don't even know how many CrossFits. We have Train for the Game, we have AMP, we have PST, and SPG, which is Sports Performance Group. So I kind of actually asked the parents, and I'm not going to read you guys the quotes, you guys can read it. These are just some quotes that I pulled from parents, and I was like, what sets us apart. Why do you see our program? Why do you see our program as where your child needs to train? And I think the biggest thing that sticks out is very little correction is made. You're in huge training groups, 20, 30 kids, where the child doesn't make much progress, boosting their confidence, feeling like there's nothing they can't accomplish, being able to be open and honest with coaches, any concerns that they have. All of our coaches are willing to listen, willing to put their minds at ease. They're being approachable. And I think that's just some things that will help, those terms. And if you're looking to build rapport and looking to have your coaches develop that relationship with parents, those are some things. Being approachable, being able to talk to them, building connections, making their child feel good. So I want to leave you guys with 3 things to do today. Start with FaceTime. That's the easiest. Get your coaches on the turf 10, 15 minutes before greeting athletes. Non-negotiable. I will literally, if I see a coach, and it happens still to this day, talking to somebody in our cardio room. We have to walk through our cardio room. I'm like, it's 4:50. You start in 10 minutes. Get on the turf. Just go there. Push them there. It happens. Program directors, get good at PR. Set aside. I literally block out an hour of my day and of just PR, where I'm not training, I'm not doing an eval, I'm not calling anybody back. I am standing in the parent waiting area, just greeting, talking to parents. It's so simple, but it goes that extra mile, and that is what will set you apart from competitors. Being available and knowing everybody's name. I really can say that, I know everybody in the program. I also probably do about 95% of the evals. Alana is the other one that does the 5%. So again, it's that initial connection that I'm responsible for. And that initial connection carries on to my, training and the other coaches. I do all the reevals. Reason being is when you're looking at, if I have my coaches do the reevals, I have to pay them or I don't get paid. So I do that though, because to me, like Ginger said, it's much easier, and I'd rather keep the child in the program than have to go out and get another child. So yeah, I'll sit down 3, 6, and 9 months and make the time. Yeah, are there 15-hour days? Absolutely. But in the end, it's just, that's what the program needs to get done. So again, I don't know how other directors, their salaries works. I get a salary. I don't get paid for doing evals. I don't get paid for doing re-evals. That's why I do most of them. Again, it saves your payroll too, which is huge. So again, any other questions that you guys may have, feel free to ask away.
Well, while they're unmuting themselves, I just want to make a comment too, guys. Everything that Liz said, absolutely true. FaceTime, really important. But don't forget about the kids that are not coming into your program. Those are the ones that are going to probably drop out. So always be aware. That's why I like a real structure to the program where, every single kid that's in your program is assigned to a coach so that those kids get calls as well, and you can find out why. Why haven't they been here? So we want to make sure nobody falls through the cracks. The other thing is too, don't forget to document all interactions with parents, because that's important as well. If somebody doesn't renew, you can always look back in the athlete notes and you can see, okay, well, it doesn't look like there's been any interactions in 9 months. No wonder they didn't renew. Okay,
right.
So always really important to document everything. I document every single conversation I have with anybody in the network, because I can always go back and check to see what happened, what was the history, and anybody can check. Anybody that is in our corporate team, they can check to see what's been going on with Wanta. Okay, well, even though I didn't talk to Liz last, I can go into Wanta's notes and I can see everything that's been happening with them. So yeah, I just wanted to mention those couple things. So I see there's a couple people on. I don't see anybody unmuted, so I'm guessing that nobody has questions, which is kind of surprising to me, because I know that not everybody is a rock star at this. But the other thing, I mean, maybe you are a rock star, so let's hear what you guys do. I'd like to find out, and Liz, I mean, I'm known for doing this, but I'd like to kind of call out some people if that's okay with you. So for those of you
Yeah, go ahead.
that are on the call, so um, I actually want to talk to LJ. So LJ, if you could unmute yourself. LJ's been around a long time. He's out at Omni, very large facility. LJ, what do you guys do out there to retain your clients? Anything special that Liz didn't mention?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of the same things, a lot of just like the FaceTime. I will say one thing we're not good at is the phone calls, but we need to get better at it. But we do a lot of fan mail. So we will write cards to the kids like after a class. Like if you had a really good class, we'll write them a fan mail and then mail that out to them.
So I want to
And
say
then
something about that, LJ. So you guys be careful about that, because make sure you are very well aware of the laws, because there are some laws now about direct contact with the kids if they're under 18. There has to be a
we mail it to it's mailed to the parents,
Yep.
but in the notes it's like, oh, Johnny was like really good, blah blah blah, like that.
Okay, terrific. I just don't want people to make mistakes like that.
So we do that, and then we also write them a handwritten welcome card when they first sign up and everything too. But a lot of the same things she was saying, we go through a lot of games and just getting to know the people in their family and their brothers and sisters and their parents and everything, really.
Yep. Excellent. Well, I mean, so, the phone calls are important, definitely. But let's see, who else can we pull out of this? Brennan, let's hear from you. So Brennan, you guys, I know your team training is awesome, and you have it really built your program in the past, year or so. Your program's gotten a lot bigger. Just curious to know what you're doing to retain those clients. So if you could unmute yourself. I don't even know if you're still there. Maybe not. Some people have logged off by now, which we're not done, but all right. He might not be there. What about, so, okay, Nicole, are you there? And this will be the last one, but I do want to hear from Nicole, because they've really built their program to be pretty big. Yep. We got you. We got audio. You hear me? Nicole? Hello? All right. Well, we have audio on her, but I don't know where she is. All right, guys. Well, if no one else is willing to share and we want to end the call, we can do that. Liz, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think that's it.
All right, guys. Well, Liz, thank you so much. I really appreciate your sharing your success with everybody. And hopefully, you guys, if you need any advice on this, there's nothing like the power of the network. So that's why we like to choose people from our network to deliver these webinars, because, I can talk until I'm blue in the face, but the fact that Liz is out there really executing makes a huge difference. So thanks so much, Liz. And thank you for all getting on the call.
Thank you, guys.